Welcome to the Culinary Treasure Podcast. I'm Steven Shomler, your host. Today finds me back on the island of Kauai. There are some really nice islands in the Hawaiian island chain. I have to tell you, Kauai is my favorite, and I am at a magical place. This is a special follow-up episode for me. I do update episodes with various chefs and culinary brands, and Koloa Rum. Bob, hello, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Good to see you again, Steven. Aloha.
Now, I would tell people that you are the man that makes the magic happen at Koloa Rum, but you would argue with me and tell me how amazing your team is, and you don't even do anything. You do nothing because you love your team and you're very gracious. So I'll try hard not to brag about what an incredible leader and business person you are. But I do know you do love your team and have a great team of people.
Absolutely. We have a wonderful team and we're growing. And so, there's a lot of people that are actually doing the magic, as you said, in the background.
So this is a follow-up episode, and if people want to know more about Koloa Rum, I'll put a link to the first episode we did so people can get your story, which is incredible. The first time you ever came to Kauai, it's kind of magical. You told me how Kauai is a canoe crop, and it came over. Sugarcane. Sorry, I'm too excited. Yes. Sugarcane is a canoe crop, and in one of the first places in Hawaii that it was grown was where?
In the Koloa district on Kauai. Yes.
Just incredible. And so there's a wonderful story there if people want to hear all that. But just to bring people up to speed, I got to confess, I try to be honest with my fans. There's a lot of amazing rums in the world, but Koloa is my absolute favorite. It's a premium top shelf rum. Now, I'll drink even garbage rum if I have to, but I love a premium top shelf rum, and you guys are my absolute favorite. I don't know if it's because I love you and your people more or the rum more, but I love both. So just give people that have never heard of Koloa Rum just a snapshot about you and your company.
Well, thanks. Appreciate your kind words. In the beginning, we knew that we could never compete on price, that we had to make products that were superior, that tasted good. We also were definitely wanting to make something that was really our own style. And so we weren't about copying or mimicking some other rum brand out there. And so we do a couple of things a little bit different than a lot of distillers do. First and foremost, for rum, we don't use molasses. I refer to rum made from molasses as being an industrial rum. A lot of people use molasses because it's relatively cheap, easy to come by. There are problems with it, though, in terms of sanitation and actually getting rid of it when you're done. We use pure cane sugar. And it helps us produce a distillate that is a little smoother, a little cleaner, a little more polished, and just better tasting, and also makes it very mixable in terms of using it for cocktails. Secondly is that we are a single batch distiller. We make literally one batch at a time. We currently have 2 pot stills, and we distill twice. And the second pass, or the second distillation, we come off at about 164 proof. That's 82% pure ethanol, alcohol, and that's higher than most rum producers, but again, it puts it into a little cleaner, smoother, better tasting category. Again, that's our style. And then we have some of the best tasting water on the planet. We use aquifer water to blend our rum and bring it down to bottle strength. Most distillers use a reverse osmosis process to filter their water. Consequently, it has little to no mineral content and absolutely no taste. Our water is literally just out of the aquifer, has good taste and mouthfeel. So those 3 things: cane sugar, no molasses; copper pot stills, distilled twice to a higher proof; best tasting, most pristine water you'll find anywhere on the planet. That gives us a leg up with Koloa.
And all of that magic that you put in there, I can taste it. You can taste the better ingredients, you can taste the better processes, and I really believe this. When a chef loves what they're cooking and they love their job and they love where they're at, you can taste the love in the food. And I know when good brewers make good beer and they love their company and love what they're doing, you can taste it in the beer, and you can taste the love in the Koloa Rum. And I'm not kidding, I'm serious. I think that energy comes through.
Thank you.
Okay, so one of the other things that's exciting, now you hinted a little behind the scenes, when we were chatting in 2017, that you were going to have an expansion. And it takes a long time to get things done around here, but you might actually, because right now you've got kind of like, my words, not yours, like a Disneyland of rum down the road a ways for a piece, and people can go and have tastings, and they can get ridiculously beautiful shirts and hats. Your branding is on point, man. I'm so jealous of your branding. You nail it, and they can buy your rum, but and then there's a different space for the distillery, but you soon, eventually, in the next couple of years, may put them together. Is that right?
Absolutely. And we've known for years that we needed to expand, to continue to grow and meet the demand for our products. About 7 years ago, we secured an 18-acre parcel of land formerly used to grow sugarcane for many years in the old Koloa plantation, and that's down in Koloa town. And we set about preparing to build a new, larger distillery that would enable us to grow and continue to meet the demand for our products. And then along came something called COVID, and that set us back a good 3 years because everything came to a screeching halt here, and no one knew what the future was going to bring. So here we are now coming out of COVID, post-COVID, and we've resurrected the project. And we've already, in fact, 2 weeks ago, I signed the first work order with our authorizing our general contractor to begin ordering materials for the job, some of which have a pretty good lead time, a pretty long lead time. So we're looking at having shovels in the ground before the end of this year, and then hopefully moving in and occupying at the very end of next year or the beginning, early first quarter 2024. So it's happening. Everything is in motion, and as they say, there's no turning back.
So I don't want to alarm you, but I just need to ask: is there how far away are paramedics roughly?
How far away are paramedics from where we sit today? Yeah. I would say probably about 800 or 900 yards.
Okay, because I am so excited right now with what you told me. I'm about to jump out of my skin, and then the paramedics have a special procedure where they shove you back into it like you're a sausage. Yeah. So that is just absolutely phenomenal news. I'm just fired up about that.
That's exciting. A long time coming, and we're going to push forward and make this happen as quickly as we can.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing. Okay, and then another cool thing. Now, I grew up in Southern California, high school, in the 80s, and the Raiders were a football team, that my local team. That's who we watched. We watched the Raiders, and we watched, the Los Angeles Rams because they had escaped from St. Louis or abandoned St. Louis, depending on your perspective. Now, I didn't know. I was, not too with it with sports, that the Raiders were with Oakland. So then they went back to Oakland. And they have a huge fan base in Oakland. They have a huge fan base to this day in Southern California. And then, this, and lots and lots and lots of people do, but not everybody does. Vegas is called the ninth island, the ninth Hawaiian island, because so many people from Vegas, or from Hawaii, move out to Vegas. There's lots of hospitality jobs. They get good training. They always seem to come back home to the island they were from, but they go there. And you guys have a business arrangement with the Las Vegas Raiders.
We do. We are a partner and sponsor of the Raiders. We have a multi-year sponsorship agreement with them, and we are the official ultra-premium rum of the Las Vegas Raiders. And you're right, it's the number one vacation spot for people living in Hawaii, the ninth island, and a lot of synergy between the two places. And we had the opportunity actually to consider such an agreement with the Rams, you mentioned, and also the 49ers and the Seahawks and a couple of other teams. But we selected the Raiders, again, because of just that connection that we have with Las Vegas. And frankly, the folks with the Raiders organization that we work with are just absolutely the best. And it's a wonderful relationship, and one that's going to be deepening over the years as we go through this. One thing I'd like to mention is that we have 3 branded bars inside Allegiant Stadium, which in and of itself is just a magnificent venue and place to go. And of course, there are events going on year-round in Allegiant Stadium, and it's not just during football season. So that gives us the platform to have our rums available for people to purchase and certainly see the branding that goes on. So from a marketing standpoint, it just seemed to all make sense, and we're thrilled with the opportunity.
Now, I want to sometimes see Kenny Chesney in concert. I would just love to do that, and I'd like to see Kenny Chesney in Bozeman. Bozeman, Montana is near dear to my heart. But seeing Kenny Chesney in Vegas at that stadium, I could have a Koloa Rum Mai Tai. That might actually help bump Bozeman out of the top running for my desires. And, my son does, a lot of my listeners know Strong Opinion Sports. He's a sportscaster. He has more than 150,000 subscribers to his YouTube channel, and he loves the Raiders. And I'm not going to tell you whether or not he talks to people in the front office, but, he's threatening someday we'll take a game in down there some year sometime. And if we do, you can bet your bippy I'm going to have Koloa Rum cocktails at those bars.
That would be great.
I'm super excited. I read that news, and I was just so excited for you. All right, some cool things happened when we were here in 2017 when I was here visiting in Kauai. One of them was I created a Mai Tai. Now, this is probably not necessarily a Mai Tai that bartenders would make, but for at-home people, it's pretty good. We were staying here in Kauai over in Moloa'a Bay, just beyond Kapa'a. And so I'm going to tell you about my special Mai Tai that I made. It's not very challenging, but it's super good. You take a half mixture of coconut rum, the Kauai coconut rum, which is absolutely ridiculous. I love coconut flavors and things, and usually it's bad. It tastes fake, cheap. It doesn't matter what it is. But your coconut rum, I can just drink that. Like it is, I can sip it. It's amazing. But half that, half pog, and then you top it with a good couple inches of Koloa dark rum, which is also eminently sippable. A squeeze of lime, a nice cherry, and it is perfect. I'm going to have to make you one sometime.
It sounds delicious.
I absolutely love it. It is really good. And then when we were here, we finished the podcast. We were sitting in this very room 5 years ago, and I said, "Hey, Bob, I got a crazy idea." I said, "Have you ever heard of a rum dinner?" And he goes, "You looked at me like I'd lost my mind." And you said, what do you mean, like a wine dinner? I said, "Yeah, just like a wine dinner." "Yeah, you get rum at every course." He says, "Steven, we could not have a dinner where we have cocktails. We would all pass out." And I said, "Well, no, we could have one at the beginning and one at the end, and we could find a chef that would make some desserts and some dishes with your rum." And you said, you kind of looked at me like I'd grown a wart out of my head, like, this guy is nuts. Who is this person I let into my office? And I said, "Hey, someday we're going to do a rum dinner." So flash forward, 2013, I wrote the book on Portland food carts. That's how I got my start in my culinary journey, was writing about food carts. 2013, Hapa PDX opens as a food cart, and they were bringing Sarah, the chef. She talks about she was in Portland. It's cold, it's raining, and she wants to be the warmth and love of Hawaii to Portland. So they're going to make ramen in Portland. So I'm there, first day they open. I'm having this incredible ramen. It's amazing. Friends with them. Gets to like roughly, I think, 2018, and I hear that his family's going to take a trip to Kauai because he and his wife got married in Koloa Town about 20 years ago. And I thought, there's my shot. I can talk Michael, who does ramen and whiskey, Japanese whiskey. That's his restaurant. I can talk him into selling Koloa rum. He can give me a Mai Tai because I absolutely love Mai Tais. That's a story for another time. Then I can go to one of my favorite places to eat on the planet and have a Mai Tai with my favorite rum, even though it's like, how am I going to pull this off? So I had staved little bottles of your rum from our visit way back when, and I saved them. And so I took them and said, "Michael, I know I'm going to Kauai. Tell you this rum." And I laid the rum in front of him, and he's like, "What, Steven?" So he's tasting it, and he goes, "This is really good." I said, "I'm going to email you and the people at Koloa, and you need to meet them." And so you met with him. You gave him a tour of the facility. He now carries Koloa rum at Hapa in Portland exclusively, and we did the rum dinner, and you were there.
Exactly right, and it happened just the way you described. And what an amazing journey. And then it was just so much fun to go to Hapa PDX and see that. And then to taste the ramen, just amazing. And then the gathering that night, great mix of people, just the ambiance, and all. It was just wonderful. And that was just sort of, I guess, solidified or cemented the relationship that we have with Michael and Sarah. And now, of course, they're beginning to prepare to open Hapa, Koloa here on Kauai. And when I heard that, I couldn't believe it. It's like, this is coming full circle. And it's super excited and, to welcome Michael and Sarah to our Kauai community. And I know that they're going to do exceedingly well. And just excited to maintain that relationship.
I have literal, you can see I've got goosebumps. It's just so exciting to me because now you can't be a restaurant in, Koloa, in Poipu, on Kauai, any of the Hawaiian Islands actually, and not have have Mai Tai. And so they had a Mai Tai because I kind of badged them into it. And now they're going to do great. And Koloa is still going to be their exclusive rum. I try to explain to people, you've given me the perfect words. I tell people, Koloa is like top shelf rum, but better. Now, not the pricing. Your bottles are not like $100 a bottle, but I would probably pay that for the dark rum. It's that good. But it's the flavor and everything. And I'm going to tell people, it's like top shelf, but it's actually ultra premium. So that's what it is. And you guys are being, Michael says you guys can be the exclusive rum. And so I'm thinking, now you've been to church, right?
I certainly have.
So there's a phrase in church. I fixed it. I tell this joke a lot, on my podcast. People know it. But God loves you and has a plan for your life. But I fixed that phrase up. God loves you and I have a plan for your life. And my plan for your life is I think maybe we should do a Koloa rum dinner at Hapa Kauai sometime in the next year or two.
That would be amazing.
I think
we're down. Lock us in.
Okay. And then this leads us into a new product you have that you mentioned it to me when we were here in 17, and it took a long time to come to be. I have not had it yet. I've been waiting till this trip to meet you to have it. But talk to us about the Koloa Kauai cacao.
Yes, and you're right. It takes us a minimum of 2 years to develop a new flavor, a new product. Certainly that was the case with the coconut, and then came the coffee. The cacao is a continuation of one of our original goals, objectives, missions, if you will, to incorporate as many locally sourced ingredients as possible in our products, to collaborate with local farmers and producers. And just as with coffee rum, which we incorporate, of course, Kauai coffee grown here on the island, the cacao that we use in our chocolate rum is grown by a fifth-generation Kauai farming family, the Lidgates, and they do a wonderful job. They bring us fresh roasted cacao beans, which we macerate or soak in our white rum for a minimum of 10 days. In that process, the alcohol, the rum, pulls color and flavor from those freshly roasted cacao beans. And so it's actually a chocolate rum. It's not chocolate flavored. It's just the flavor, the color. It's coming strictly from the cacao beans. We add a little bit of cane sugar when it's all said and done, just to round it out a little bit. Bottled at 80 proof, so it's a full-strength rum, but it is chocolate rum. Chocolate, rum, and a tiny bit of cane sugar. And it's absolutely divine. And so anyone who likes chocolate, you're going to love, our cacao chocolate rum.
So in 2017, my luggage had way too much Koloa rum in it when I left. I just bought a whole bunch of it, and I took the coffee rum home to my sister Jackie, and it blew her mind. And so I'm betting that there are people that make cocktails where they mix the coffee and the chocolate. Have you heard of such a thing?
I have heard of such a thing. Yes, it is a thing.
I want one of those. That is amazing. And then you mentioned Michael. His wife, Sarah, is the chef. She's the secret weapon. Don't ever let Michael fool you. He has a great smile, but she's an amazing chef. But he comes up with cocktails, and he has the most insane cocktail at his place featuring your basically chocolate rum. It's chocolate rum and sake of all things, and some secret ingredients. He calls it cookies and cream. It's incredible. When Hapa Kauai opened, you need to go there and have one of those cocktails. It's going to blow your mind.
That sounds amazing. I just can't even fathom how that's going to taste, but I can't wait.
Now, if you're listening to this podcast and you're a fan of Koloa rum like I am, and you know of a restaurant or a bar that does a really good cocktail with this chocolate rum, message me through Instagram, and I will promote it on my This Is Culinary Treasure platform. Send me a beautiful picture, and I will promote it, because I would love to help bring more light to your stuff, and this chocolate rum is ridiculous.
Thank you.
Okay, one more thing that you hit me with a bomb when I walked in the door. I didn't know this. There's a new thing you have going on that I had no idea about. And you said, da-da-da-da-da, and I didn't quite hear what you were saying. And I thought you were talking about your mixed, your big pitchers of mixed things, which are fantastic. Those are good. When I stayed, we were at Mo'olala Bay, we spent a couple days just on the beach. So every day we'd fill a thing with some ice and then a full jug of your thing. And then we put like half a bottle of dark rum to fix it up. I mean, that's how I fix up your pre-made Mai Tai. But you said over on my table, and It was so shocking to me and so beautiful that I couldn't even process what I was seeing. I couldn't even, and then I looked, and these cans are incredible. You've got sparkling rum cocktails. What? I'll put a picture up. You can go to culinarystreasurepodcast.com and look at all the photos, including this product. But tell me about this.
Well, really exciting for us, and in a long time coming. We had planned these actually pre-pandemic. Of course, that, again, delayed things and set us back for a while. We've had, you mentioned our regular standard ready-to-drink cocktails that we have in bottles. We've had those for 8 or 10 years now. We do a Mai Tai, as you mentioned, but also rum punch and what we call pineapple passion. And those have always, had a strong following, with our customers. But we've been watching the canned cocktail movement, I guess, over the last 4 or 5 years. In the beginning, we thought, well, maybe that's a fad that's not going to last long. But then it really took hold, and we thought, well, some of those are okay, but if we used our rum with all natural ingredients, using fruit juice and purees and, everything natural, with a little bit of carbonation, sparkling, as we call it, that we felt we could make a superior product. And so we set about formulating and, trial and error. And finally, we nailed what I think are just outstanding 4 flavors to start with. We do our coconut, guava, mango, and pineapple. And again, emphasis on all natural. These are in 12-ounce cans, lower alcohol, 4.5% or 9 proof per can, and 130 calories. So they're on the lighter side, but there's a place for those. I think a lot of consumers now are looking for something that maybe has a little lower alcohol, something refreshing, definitely. Easy to throw in the cooler, take on the boat, out by the pool, down to the beach. There's certainly a place, for this particular product. And we're in the midst of what I would call a soft launch now. It's only available in select markets, and the early response has been phenomenal. And pretty soon we'll be expanding our distribution into all markets that we sell our products, in Hawaii and around the country.
People can go to your Facebook page or your Instagram account, and they will be able to find out all about what you're putting together, or they can just watch Koloa Rum at Instagram, and that's where you announce when you're rolling out, when you're in different states, when they can get it, because this looks absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. We're excited.
And I can fix up, have you ever heard of a snowball? So it's a drink in at least Portland dive bars, and maybe it's called something somewhere else. But, I don't know if you've heard of this.
Shave ice, I'm familiar with. Snowball, not so much.
This is, actually, I don't want to offend anybody, in Hawaii. It's actually better than shave ice, really. You've heard of this thing called seltzers, alcoholic seltzers?
Of course, yes.
Oh, yeah, and those are fine, but they're low alcohol, and sometimes you want that. But the way they fix them in some of the dive bars in Portland, and they may call it different places, different names other places, but you can get it with vodka. And so you just add vodka to your seltzer. And so I'm thinking, when I want the 4.5 with your sparkling, coconut, that's great. But then I could add some vodka to it. I could add some Koloa dark rum to it. And then I can fix it right up, and I can just augment it just slightly. Would that be all right if we did that?
It'd be perfectly fine. Absolutely.
I cannot wait till these come to the Portland market. And then you distribute in a lot of the U.S.
We're now distributed and sold, as we speak today, in 32 states on the mainland U.S. We're also in Canada, Japan, Australia, Germany, Austria, France, Italy, and Spain.
That is fantastic. Oh, I want to see what kind of Spanish cocktails they do in Spain, like in Northwest Spain, like Galicia. I bet I want to send some Koloa Rum there and see what those bartenders there can come up with.
Actually, I'll be there next month. I'm going to Rome and to work a week in other parts of Europe, including Spain. I'll report back.
Good. Yes. If you take a picture and I know you're not, and I live and breathe with my iPhone, and you're a little bit different experience with theirs, but at least take a picture and get the dude or dudess's name, and then I will bug them later, and I'll promote their cocktail, their Koloa Rum cocktail, through my Instagram and my brand, because that fires me up. I just can't, 'cause I love it when people do unconventional, like Michael's crazy, chocolate rum and sake cocktail that's amazing, and people do fun stuff. So that's great. And I know from personal experience, if you live in a state that carries Koloa Rum, but your favorite liquor store or store doesn't carry Koloa Rum, you can gently, kindly ask the manager to do it, and he will bring it in for you.
Yes, and that's exactly how we've expanded to the mainland and beyond, is by just that. People, calling us, emailing us, asking, where can we find your rum? And we will tell them always, go talk to your favorite retailer. Let them know about us, and then they will contact us, and we'll put them in touch with distributors. And that's what begins the process to get our products into new markets and new territories. And it works.
And just do it kindly, neatly. I always believe, I go with the philosophy, you attract more flies with honey than vinegar. I don't know why we want to attract flies, but you get more done with honey than vinegar. I guess I need to fix that phrase up. I don't like it so much now that I say it out loud. But I think you get more done with honey than vinegar, unless you're like doing some kind of special barbecue. I have to fix the whole thing up. But anyways, just be nice to people and ask nicely, and you go a lot farther with kindness. How's that? That good. Kindness gets you a lot farther.
I really agree with that. But people can also go to our website, and there's a tab by Koloa Rum, and if you click on that, it lists all the different markets that we are sold in and available, and it gives you the option of entering your zip code or postal code, and then that will populate a map to show you where the nearest retailer is to you there. And so a lot of information about where to find us through the website.
Now, I just to close, the first time you came to Kauai, the island of Kauai, you fell in love with it.
Absolutely. The moment I stepped off the plane, literally, it was just like, whoa, there's something here. There's something magical. There's some almost spiritual about the place. And it certainly got me. Maybe not everyone feels that, but I certainly did. And I still feel it to this day.
No, when I got off the plane 2 days ago, the air felt good. I just felt it just so wonderful. I agree with you completely. And then professionally, you did some other things. And then when did Koloa Rum get started?
Yes, I worked for many years in the sugar industry here, so I have that background. And, of course, everyone knows rum has to be made from a derivative of sugarcane, so that's an interesting connection. Did some other things, professionally over the years, and then just in sort of an abstract way, I was invited to participate in a distillery project on the island of Maui. And that was my introduction to this beverage alcohol industry and business. And over the course of about 6 years, that group and I built 2 distilleries in Maui. And then I decided to come back home to Kauai and talk to people here. And we decided to pool our resources and start Koloa. We began the project in early 2008. We began bottling rum in September 2009. So it's September now that we're talking. So we're now 13 years in with bottling and selling rum. We also opened our tasting room and company store at Kilohana Plantation at that time too. So, which is a very important part of our business, being able to introduce our products to a large number of people there. So it's been a journey, and the journey continues, and we're continuing to grow and develop as a brand. The new facility is going to be great. That's going to enable us to continue to grow and produce excellent world-class products.
Okay, so here's my question that I have for you, because I know that you did some other things professionally, and roughly what was the year, again, that Koloa Rum started, roughly?
We began to build out the distillery and started the permitting process in March of 2008, and then we received our permits and began bottling and selling rum in September of 2009.
So 2009. So how many years is that, roughly?
13 years, exactly.
13 years. 13's
we have been bottling and selling rum.
Yeah, and for those of you listening, any time you ask an entrepreneur when their company started, for most of us it's the grand opening or when they first open the doors. But for entrepreneurs, people that have been involved with a group of people building something, it started way sooner. And Bob mentioned, you could just hear that in his description. But here's where I'm headed. So I when I wear my, I have 2 different careers, 2 different things I do professionally. In my Spark to Bonfire hat, I tell people, go live the life you imagine. And I have 4 values. I talk about the 4 treasures. And I've got a Spark to Bonfire inside about the 4 treasures: joy, adventure, serenity, and fulfillment. And so many people live lives absent fulfillment. And I'm just reading this really gut-wrenching book by Marcus Buckingham. He's a genius, and he's written a book called Love and Work, and people have taken the love out of work, and he really advocates, like, man, I wish I could have written this book. It's so amazing. But you are happy and fulfilled professionally. I know you do. It just leaks out of you. But I'm right, aren't I?
Yes, it's been an amazing journey, and what really makes it extra special and rewarding is the team that we have assembled here. One of our early goals or objectives were to provide meaningful employment for our local people. And everyone, almost to the person that's involved in our company here on Kauai, is either from Hawaii, from Kauai, or have lived here and worked here for many years. So we truly are homegrown in that respect. We're not, I always joke around and tell people, we're not rock stars, we're not movie stars, we're not a bunch of venture capitalists who thought it would be cool to go out to Hawaii and build a distillery. I mean, it was actually conceived, created, built, and runs to this day here locally. So when we say authentic Hawaiian rum, it's that.
You're not whistling Dixie, it's the real deal. And it makes my heart It makes my heart soar and sing because I wish people could see the look on your face when you talk about your team. You really do love them and care about them. They are amazing, incredible people. That's all true. But you do provide a little bit of leadership around here. You don't just do nothing. And I know you're very humble, but I'll just tell it to you this way. I think 1903, a book came out by James Allen called As a Man Thinketh. And he writes a really good book, some of quirky stuff now, but some of it's really good. And he says, you attract to you not what you want, but what you are. And so I think if there's a lot of great people around here, that's got to flow out of your heart because you've attracted those people and you've kept them around. So hats off to you. I celebrate your people, but I also celebrate you and your heart and your love and your leadership.
Well, thank you. And again, I think credit has to be given to our employees, our team here. People, Hawaii's different. We have a different culture. We have a different, just background. And I think perspective and outlook on life. And we have a phrase in Hawaii we call ohana, which translates to mean family, but in the broad sense. And, local style is ohana. You're part of our family. We take care of each other. We look out for each other. We value each other. And living on islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you really need to have that perspective and outlook because sooner or later you're going to be left to your own devices and resources. So it all comes from being part of this place, so I can't overemphasize that.
I know. You're a humble man, and that's part of what makes you so beautiful. Thank you so much. It was a delight to catch up with you. I'm going to keep drinking Koloa Rum and fly the drinking Koloa Rum and fly the Koloa Rum flag. Lots of great rums out there. I don't want anyone to feel, unless you make garbage rum, and then, no shame on you. But lots of great rums are made out there, but I just tell you, yours is absolutely phenomenal. And if you've listened to this podcast, you've not had it. And if you're like, I don't know if I like rum. Okay, do me a favor. Just go get the dark rum, the Koloa dark rum, pour it and just sip it. Or get the coconut and sip it, and it'll change your rum life. All the time. That's the two flavors I use to convince people. Oh, don't tell me you don't like rum. Try this one or try this one. Just straight, neat, no ice, just sip it, and it becomes converts. I don't know what you put in it. Maybe it's cocaine. I don't know that addicts them to it. But those are the two flavors I tell people. If you don't like rum, just try one of those sipped neat.
Well, thanks. We have 7 core rums that we make now, aside from our ready-to-drink cocktails. So I tell people we've got a rum for every day of the week and a flavor that is bound to appeal to someone. I hear all the time that, I really don't like rum, or I had a bad experience with rum in college, whatever. You haven't tried Koloa rum, and I think if people give it a try, that usually seals the deal.
Yeah, and I don't mean to not highlight your other flavors, but we talked through all of your other flavors in the last podcast. But your spice, your gold, your white, they're all just amazing. There's not a bad one in the bunch, which is kind of irritating, because all your stuff is that good. But those are 2 of my favorites. Anyways, it's been a delight to have you on the podcast. I'm so thrilled for all the success you've had. I wish you all the success. And I want to come back when you get that place open, the new Disneyland of Rum, and I want to do some filming there and highlight it and celebrate it because I just know you and your team, it's going to be a sight to behold and magnificent.
Well, thank you. And it's going to be a special place. And, we're growing a lot of sugarcane there. Everything that we're doing there is done organically. and eventually we'll have an organic rum produced right there on site. It will be a true destination for people, including distillery tours, farm tours, and the like. So very exciting, and I think something that we're all looking forward to.
All right. Cheers. Wish you all the best. Cheers, everyone.
Aloha.